Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 350, and today we're going to be doing battle with Teemo's Seraphine. And so it really hurts my heart, it breaks my soul, it makes me feel like a bit of a bad person to come out here and be playing Seraphine. I hate Seraphine absolutely so much, but there's a real unit focus to this deck, and I think that we can get ourselves through it. And so I believe this deck was unleashed upon the world by 4LW. I think he still currently plays for the Mastering Runeterra Pro team. Typically has a very high ladder ranking at the end of each season, and he unleashed this behemoth upon the world. And so, what you typically see coming out of these Seraphine decks is she's always tied into some kind of combo. So in the days of old, she would have been paired off with Ezreal. Here in more recent times, she's paired off with the Back Alley Bar and Mischievous Mirai. And then as we move into this style of deck, we're going to pair her off with Mischievous Mirai again, but more so with the Fleet Admiral Shelley. And so the kind of core concept with this deck is we're going to be loading up the board with Elusives. We have the likes of Father Fury, Augmented Clockling, and then the probably free Wiggly Burblefish. We'll get the Fleet Admiral Shelley on the board. Now we want to start chaining off as many spells as we can to come out and deliver these +1/+1s to all of our units, and then we'll be able to additionally augment that bonus by playing a bunch of spells from Seraphine. And so at its core, that's what we're trying to do, but it can kind of expand on those ideas a little bit more. And so the point that I always like to make in terms of a lot of deck building is you don't want to half-ass anything that you're doing. We live by that wonderful advice from our beloved friend Ron Swanson that you don't want to half-ass anything, you want to whole-ass one thing. And so that's where you kind of get these really kind of mystical ideas as to where you're going to combo together like 4 and 5 different ideas and concepts, and then that one game where everything comes together, it's great, but the rest of the games you don't find all the pieces and nothing really comes together. And so it's very easy to kind of start slipping away as we say, okay, I'm going to get these Elusives, and then I'm going to get Fleet Admiral Shelley, and then I'm going to get Seraphine, and then I'm going to copy a bunch of spells. But these pillars of this deck are so strong on their own that it's kind of okay if all of this doesn't come together. And so we can still just play Mischievous Mirai, chain off 2 spells, and then AoE an opponent with the Caustic Rift. We can still put a Seraphine on the board, play a bunch of rando spells because we have Coral Creatures and Father Fury, and then play a Sputtering Song Spinner, or we can just smack our opponent down with Elusives. And so we have a lot of different kind of pillars that we can look after with this deck, but none of those pillars really crumble or fall apart if we don't draw another piece of the deck. And so I'm kind of on board with what's happening here. I think it all looks good. It's got a big removal package in it. It's got a lot of card draw in the top end. It's got a lot of card generation between the Seraphine, the Coral Creatures, the Father Fury, and the Wiggly Burblefish. And it's got this really nice base of Elusives and Fleet Admiral Shelley to go after our opponent without necessarily needing to put together a big combo aspect. And so, good stuff. That's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead and jump on in, see if we can't take down a game or two. And so, we're going to be playing over on the old secondary account. I need to get this one up to Masters. I feel like I've kind of had my feel for Eternal over the past few days playing Champions Unlimited. We're going to kind of shelf that one until it becomes more relevant, and then kind of finish off this season with some constructed videos. We should be getting the real shakeup of the meta here in less than a week. And this upcoming Wednesday, the balance patch should hit, and we'll be most certainly diving into the lands of constructed with that on board. So it's exciting times, man. It's always exciting times out here in the lands of Legends of Runeterra. So let's see, how are we going to start this one off? Not really interested in starting with Burblefish. We don't need to be too fast against Ash LeBlanc. We could look to keep some kind of value cards, but we're realistically going to be looking for Seraphines, and we're going to be looking for cards like Coral Creatures that give us something to do here in the early game. Can say that it is pretty important to have access to Teemo if we want to play cards like Father Fury and actually activate the Plunder. We kind of need the Elusives on board. It's not going to be so easy like it would be if we played against a or if we were playing with a Seraphine based deck. But good stuff. Teemo comes down. Opponent says, "Oh noes, oh noes, am I going to get puff capped?" Get puff capped right out of this one. Poor guy. And so here we should be pretty safe. We can go ahead and add the coral creatures. If the opponent plays the Ice Veil Archer to put a Frostbite onto Teemo, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to say one of their big angles here is going to be the coral creatures. And so, or I'm sorry, the Trifarian Glory Seeker, which just can't block. So very happy with how this turn's panning out. We did what all the pro players do, which is spike parlay off of your off of your coral creatures. We can now use that to take down the opposing Glory Seeker. Got a pretty good start. Pretty good. Want to learn how to win like the pros? Just do stuff like that. All right, Test of Spirit coming in. Another worthy addition off of the Coral Creatures. A nice interactive spell to pick up. Can spike a point of damage throughout the game if you need to. Powerful thing. And so here's where it's, you know, a bit of a bummer. We've got the double Father Fury, but we can't deal the damage to the opponent's face. So I'm just going to come in and open attack. I'm not really interested in being the aggro here. I don't think that's a fair assessment for what our deck and our hand are capable of doing. And so we'll play the Father Fury second. We're going to pick up these additional spells, see if we can't get something exciting going with those. Ooh, Bloodbait. Good old Bloodbait coming in. All right, block. You've done the work, Coral Creatures. We appreciate what you're doing for us. About to be time to switch over to those Elusives. Wow. Well, we don't have to worry about brittle steels anymore. Opponents dropped 3 of them on us at this point. And that's fine. I mean, it's not like getting this point of damage onto Ash was a big pain point. All right, Clockling coming in. We got anything good? Lots of good choices here. The Mischievous Mirai is in a spot to where we should be able to pop off with it. Like the opponent doesn't have anything on the board, so we're fairly safe in terms of just dropping it. And then if he wants to hit us with a like a strike spell, that's pretty expensive. And so I think we can look to pick up the Mirai and start to use it on this upcoming turn. Like it's just such a big possibility if we pick up a burn spell. Reckoning. Oh my gosh. There goes the team. I thought our friends had nothing to worry about here, and then they're all gone. Poor Gaz. But we still have plenty of cards in hand. I'm mainly interested in just not dying to Ash and friends as opposed to really popping off with some of these abilities. All right, let's drop the Mirai, see if he can do anything. It's okay if he again comes in with a big strike spell to take down the Mirai. He doesn't have it, so now we're able to take this Ash off of the board. All right, can't wait to draw Snapjaw Swarm next turn. All right, Ash is removed. Now we can add in Burblefish, get 5 damage of combat in for this turn. We are going to draw Snapjaw Swarm next turn, which kind of sucks, but we have a lot of card draw in hand to kind of push away from that. And depending on how things fall, we can just drop a big old parlay onto the Hearthguard. Looks like that's gonna come to fruition. So we can drop the Eye of Nagakaboros. Could come in. Oh, hang on, shit. No, we're not. We're not short. Okay, we can bring in the Blade Fragment. Give quick attack to somebody. Short. Now we can come in with the parlay onto his big unit. You say boom. Get that stuff all cleared out. Nice little 4-piece nugget to the dome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Interesting. Let's clear out the blocker here. There's a reasonable chance that we get another ground-based unit on board next turn and can just attack around the Assessor. We got now more Teemos. You got Cluckling. It's pretty tempting to just start chaining the Clucklings. As it stands, we have 4 elusive on the board. We can get up to 6 with the Cluckling and then 7 with Teemo. So I think we're just going to go for it. Oh God, we can pick up Seraphine here. She's close to getting our opponent boomed, as 2 spells would let us pop off with the Mystic Shot, but Burblefish should be free here. So let's just go ahead and get the additional unit. Hopefully we don't get... oh shit, there he goes. I was going to say, hopefully we don't get spiked by a Reckoning. That would be a little unfortunate. Is he going to bring it in? He's thinking hard on something. He's got that 1 card in hand. All right, let's just attack with this. It's tough. Like, if he has the Harsh Winds, we're only going to deal 4 damage on the round and be short of the lethal. Well, we have the Mirai on board. We shouldn't really be short of the lethal, but if he has the Harsh Winds or the Frostbites, I think we should have been pretty safe because we had the burn in hand, and then he's still going to struggle to even kill us on the upcoming turn. But if he does have the Reckoning in hand, we fall super far behind, just losing out on all of that damage. Even though opponent wouldn't be able to lethal us that soon, it's still kind of a scary spot. All right, though. Victory achieved, and that's what I was kind of talking about in terms of the pillars standing up and not necessarily needing the combos to come in. We didn't see a Fleet Admiral Shelley. We didn't see a Seraphine. We had the Mischievous Mirai on board doing some stuff, but it's not like we developed a really big combo draw or something. We just got our Elusives on board, and they did a lot of work along with a lot of the cards we generated along the way. But pretty good. All right, Teemo, let's come at him. I'm curious the amount of work Teemo can do against Karma Set as the game really drags on and we get a lot of opportunities to put these puff caps in. It is a very real chance his opponent, tries to move into their combo turn, and we're able to hit them for like 4 and 5 damage off of the puff caps. He knows he's scared. He says, "I don't want to deal with that, Teemo." All right, you can't ransom riches anymore for 0 mana. You don't have any units left in the game that you can afford. But in this spot, I want to go ahead and open. If he comes in and drops a random 3/3, we're not going to be able to get any damage in. And so it's nice to at least slap in for that single point. Now I'm just going to drop Seraphine. We've got things like Swindle in hand, but we do have 2 Mischievous Mirais. And if we're able to get the Mirai down and then start chaining off some more of these spells, it feels like we have a little bit more opportunity than we would if we just ran off with the Swindle. Let's get ourselves a new unit now. I don't really want to be passing with all this mana up. Not a bad collection. The Spell Shield's kind of tempting, but I think the Shadow Assassin's going to be where it's at. The Spell Shield and only costing 2 mana would let us just bank a little more into this upcoming turn. And how safely can we start playing the Mischievous Mirais? Well, now that we've picked up the second Father Fury, I don't think I'm nearly as interested, but we're really close. If we had like 1 more burn spell, I'd probably feel a little bit better about it, but the opponent shouldn't have too many answers to these things. He's bringing in the Riff. I don't care to lose Seraphine. I would like to get his Clockling off of the board, though, so let's go ahead and bring in the Transfusion. Deal 1 to an ally, boost the Coral Creatures. It's going to... Well, I guess he is actually going to survive the combat here with 1 health, but I was mainly interested in getting the Clockling removed. All right, now let's get him Father Fury. Your your 1 health body can come in now that the spell has been spent. Oh shit, we didn't deal any damage, did we? All right, well, let's stop. I knew that I attacked with 3 units and only 2 of them got blocked, so I felt like I was safe to just slam in the Father Fury. I'm glad we at least stopped once we realized once we realized that the shenanigans were afoot. All right, this can be a fairly rough pass for us. We have a ton of mana, but I don't feel like he's just going to skip out on the set. Kind of want our transfusion back now that we're dropping Shelly's, but I think it'll be okay. All right, well, let's see what we can do. I'm going to start with the Mirai. We want to get some of these units on board. Again, we're not going to like completely pop off this turn, but we do have a handful of spells that we can play. We can get Father Fury down to generate some more spells. I'm not going to get like a kill this turn, but this gives him two units that he needs to answer really bad. Okay. Not going to get up to 6 mana. And a Mystic Shot. Not very nice, my dude. Not very nice. Alright, then we'll stop there. We got this other Mirai that we can try and pop off with a little bit. Barbed Chain was a decent draw if we're gonna throw down the 2 plunders this turn.
Beat losers. Welcome to the arena.
Alright, rip Shelly. That does make this a little more challenging. Alright, well, let's at least see if he's got a second Hexbliterator. It feels like this is reasonably safe dropping the Mirai here. I know we're not going to combo off on this turn, but might be able to do something next turn. Feels like we might have sequenced this a little awkwardly, but we didn't have the removal for set, and so not entirely certain that's the case. Oops, I thought we spent a mana. I'm slopping this up, everybody. I'm slopping it up. Sure. Got that sweet coin in hand. I'm thinking we probably just want tag out, right? Give us a way to protect the Mirai, but since we messed up our mana a little bit playing Father Fury first, we're not going to be able to play the Barbed Thing, and I think we really need to be dropping the Barbed Thing this turn. So I'm leaning towards just picking up the coin. Comes another burn. Oh, okay, the secondary part went onto the Mirai. Makes sense. And I'm gonna stop here. I want to be able to rummage into something next turn, and so. See how it goes. I feel like we really slopped this game up. It seems like we had all the tools we needed to win, and we just didn't protect our spells well enough. But pretty good draw with another Burble Fish and then a Mirai.
Hey, Meg, whip up anything special for tonight?
Alright, Seth getting the flip. This is like we really need to win on this turn, but like it seems like he's tapped his mana to the point to where he's just going to be like dropping Karma, and so I don't think we need to worry about too much interactivity. Probably should worry about it, but I think we're at least a little bit safe in that sense. Clockling. Okay. So I think we're just going to go ahead and rummage. We can play the Tellstones to get the thing in hand and the extra spell, and then we can discard the generated spell to the rummage, but I don't think I want to. I think we want to hang on to that extra little bit of mana here. Gotta find something useful, right? Get that parlay. Nope. Alright, I think this one's done. Let's move on. I feel like a better pilot of these cards would have probably managed that a little bit differently. It feels like when you're in that spot to where you have the Shelly and you have the Mirai, you should be pretty safe in the sense that you're able to pop off pretty hard. I think maybe we got a little aggressive with what we were doing there in the sense that we didn't let one of our big cards hit the board with a bunch of mana. So we had the Shelly on board, then we had the Mirai on board. Probably should have just, say, put the Shelly on board and then tried to untap with a bunch of mana so we could chain off a bunch of spells. And then 2 turns from that, put the Mirai on board. But I was really underestimating our opponent's ability to interact with our units. I wasn't expecting those Expliterators to come in. All right, though. Next battle up against the Chunky Badger, bringing Vigio Gwen at us. Was that with Shurima? It sure was. It sure was. And he doesn't attack. Interesting. I don't know about that, my dude. I wasn't going to block, but I feel like you'd be pretty happy to trade the host away. You're usually pretty stoked to be putting the removals on, or just making the trades with this guy earlier and then having the Hallowed to go with it. But here I put down Seraphine. I feel like she's a little bit of a safer unit here in terms of what's going to be getting hit with his attackers. You know, it survives all of this stuff. Let's just pass. We can trade away our Teemo at this point and just play another one. I mean, I guess we could play Monkey Business at this point. It's going to get a trade. I was trying to live in the lands of value and get the extra monkey out of this thing, but it's probably good enough at this point. He's still going to bring the attacks. Alright, so we got some blocks in. Took a little bit of damage. Can refill with the Teemo. See what we can do. So many Teemos. Alright, Gwen comes in. Let's get Father Fury down. Get that extra card in our hand. Oh, a Mushroom Cloud. Is that what life's gonna be about today? Are we just gonna be throwing down with the Mushroom Clouds and the flipped Teemo? Certainly a possibility. Alright, let's get him, Shelly. See if we can't get Seraphine to at least survive some of this combat. Oh no, she goes down in front of Gwen. Sad day for you. Alright, I think we gotta stop here. Not a particularly exciting block, but Shelly gets to survive. We can play another Teemo, and then we at least got a time trick to try and pop off a little bit next turn. I think we're just going to be short on the lethal, but we do have a bit of time. Alright, Teemo number 3. Oh shit, we don't have the mana? Alright, next turn. Next turn it is. Gonna get you flipped, my dude. You're gonna be bringing all the puff caps. I hope opponents ready to squeeze them butt cheeks just to know, just to know good and well what's about to come up. But here we've got 3 spell mana, so we'll play a spell first. Then we can drop the coral creatures in before we play spell number 2. Get those extra activations off of Shelly. Maybe we can continue on a little further. I didn't want to drop the Mirai. We don't have any cards in hand to use with it, so it's not particularly exciting. Now, it is exciting when we see Caustic Rift turn up, but we don't have a lot of combo potential with it. We can do a 3 damage AoE next turn, but the question is going to be if if he's going to open attack or not. But I think that's okay. So we'll come in for the 9. Sure thing. Because I guess if it's like, if he doesn't open on us, then we'll get the chance to play the Mirai, and if he does open on us, I don't think he's actually capable of killing us. He does have like Hallowed 1,000,000 right now, Hallowed +5, but I think we can get out in front of that a little bit. Well, these are some big units. that 3 damage AoE doesn't look nearly as special as I wanted it to be. Still okay, though. I don't think we end up dying this turn. Ooh, it's nice getting... He's stacking all of the stats onto Viego, who are most certainly going to block.
Why are you here?
So we'll drop this in. We need to come in and block with the Mirai, though. If he has something, he shouldn't have too much here, but if he has a combat trick or something to survive this combat, I don't want to just die. So we'll throw the Caustic Rift down. That'll kill everybody except his champions. Oh shit, we even get to kill Viego here. I mean, I planned it that way. Get us in a good spot for this next turn. I mean, I planned it that way. Rip Vigio. Reasonable stuff. Feels good. He's down to 1 card. I don't think we're quite to the point to where we can lethal, but if we get like a single removal spell for this Gwen, it's going to do a ton of work. No, snap. Look at all look at all these things popping off. Jeez. All right, let's start with the eye. I don't think we get too much out of the Mirai with what we have this turn. Now, Make It Rain's fantastic. We can definitely clear out a big portion of his board. Can't play the Clockling, though, right? It's just going to... it's going to reduce the cost of a spell, but it's not going to reduce the cost of our Make It Rain. So let's just go ahead and Make It Rain here. See where that gets us. Should kill off his Gwen. That's the big important target. Then, ideally... one of these leftover units along with our Mystic Shot will be enough to close out the game. The 3 damage plus 3 damage plus 3 damage from Mystic Shot would normally be enough to end it, but this extra unit we're going to be a little bit short. Don't think it's worth going for. It should be pretty tough for him to just kill us, right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna play an Atrocity? I don't think people play Atrocity anymore. I guess it's not even in Standard, and so you shouldn't be able to just dome us. There was the reason just to go face, right? We got all these puff caps in the deck. You say, look out, my dude. Look out, we got the puff caps. Let's see. We should probably be able to Mischievous Mirai this, right? And then just send a Mystic Shot to face. Opponent agrees. That was enough. GG. All right, not bad. I thought that was going to be disaster until we dropped the... I didn't realize Viego was going to die in that combat. That was a real perk for us to get that dum-dum off of the board. Things would have looked really different if we weren't able to get that extra damage onto him. So, good stuff. It's so weird being on the actual playing side of this style of deck. Like it's a lot of the kind of game plan style things makes sense to me playing against it. You're like, say you're playing one of these Demacia decks that we typically do. So we're playing like Leona Garen or something with the single combats. You do like pretty much everything that you can to kill the mischievous Mirai. And so you don't single combat anything except for the Mirai. You just leave it there. And then the only thing you'll ever single combat otherwise is if you get, say, like stuck, as to where you had to like tap out, they play the Mirai, and then start popping off next turn. You might single combat the kegs, but you just know it's so important to take that unit down. And then so it's so weird and nice to be on like the opposite side, to where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm the one I'm the one dropping the sick AoEs out here, and it feels really nice. Oh shit, the Bone Club coming right in. Look at the size of that Weaponsmith's Apprentice. It's ready to party. Coral creatures, get ready to do your thing. It's about time for you to block, my dude. Just get right out there. All right, so how do we want to go about this? Now, it's like next turn we can drop the Mirai. The only card coming out of the opposing deck that should be able to answer Mirai is going to be a fish fight or a challenger thing. And so with that in mind, I don't really want to play the Mirai on our turn. I want to play it on our opponent's turn after they attack. And so if they're able to hit us with a fish fight, you know, then you kind of got us. You don't have very many, but I really want to limit them to both the fish fight and the entrancing lure, and that cuts out the entrancing lure. And so Mirai can come down in 2 turns. We could still look to pick up Make It Rain. I think it's fairly safe. We're probably just not going to end up playing it on this turn, though. I'm leaning more towards just taking Teemo. We get to play Teemo for free, which is kind of nice, and then we can open and look to play some of these other cards.
Hammer, tongs,
Block.
anvil.
Block. It's like, yeah, get that forge on there.
No
Block.
outsider.
So cool, that's been done. I wonder what we can swindle into here, since we've got 2 copies of it. I don't entirely remember the removal suite that you see coming out of these decks. It's been a bit of time since I've battled against Jax Orn on the reg. I was trying to think it would be nice if we're picking up flash freezes like 3 Sisters out of their deck, but I don't entirely remember what their common cards are. Alright, so I'm leaning towards like just playing 1 Swindle, seeing what turns up, spending that spell mana, then following up with the Father Fury, since we're going to get the attune off of him anyways. That feels kind of safe. And the other option is, I mean, he's at 2 mana. I don't think I'm willing to risk playing the Mirai here. And so let's at least see what we're working with real quick. Does have the fish fight. I see it. I see it, my dude. Not cool. Trying to come in and kill our units and stuff. What do we got? Father Fury hits on Bloodbait. Not too exciting. So let's just spend the rest of our mana with this formula, and we'll call it a day. Herbal Fish down to 4. Feels like we've already played like 1,000,000 spells. Turns out it's only been 2. But it certainly feels like we've played a lot.
More air, more coals.
All right, let's get some blocks in here. We don't... It's one of these spots to where you should be able to kind of like cheat on it. You know that your opponent isn't really capable of just dealing a ton of damage. Like with these ground-based units, you have to worry about Ornn, right? When Ornn comes down, he generates the big Overwhelm unit. And I think I kind of want to be able to stay at like, 14, 15 health or so that we can take that 1 hit off of the ram without dying. And so I'm going to put in a block, even though it's not super spectacular here. This looks like a job for Teemo. That'll drop us to 14. And then we're going to be refilling with these Elusives. And so we can get pretty close to burning him out if we pick up a Mystic Shot or something off these Clocklings. There's the Mystic Shot, but I have to imagine we want Shelly, right? Shelly's going to let us pop off with all the spells next turn. Want to play any of these cards? I don't really want to just like waste our mana here, but maybe we can just add Father Fury. I know we haven't plundered this turn, but we're just getting the unit on the board. All right, he's got all the stats. Let's show him how interactive we can be. Let's show him. So I think it's okay to overbank with the Shelly here. There's none of these cards I really want to kind of preemptively play. So let's go ahead and get it on the board. See what we can do from here. A little limited in our spells, but we can play 4. We can play Tellstone, Swindle, Fish Fight, and Bloodbait if we want. It says, oh no. Look at all them. Look at all them units all bust put on the board. They all have Elusive and everything. It's so weird to me coming from a background in Magic to where like having flying, like someone having a quote unquote flying deck just wasn't a thing, right? Just nobody cared. But to have Elusive in this game be degenerate's not the right word, but such a problematic kind of effect. It's kind of strange. I probably should have started with the Swindle just in case something we can play turns up. And we can play the Sharesies here to get the second. I think you can still play Sharesies. Give an ally with an attachment the stats and keywords and move it. We're going to find out. May not actually be able to cast it, but it's the second we could play Sharesies plus Bloodbait here. Can't play it. We don't have the targets for it, so sad day there. Sad day. What else you thinking about, bro? So where are we at here? This is 12. We can get up to 14 with the Burblefish. Doesn't feel very worthwhile playing any of these other spells. Like we could fish fight something to make Burblefish cost 1 less, but I don't think that's particularly amazing. Definitely don't want to be putting these blood baits on top of our deck. All right, let's see if we can do it. As it stands, we're short on damage, right? We have 15. Maybe on this next turn, if he starts to present us with a lethal, we could look to... Sure. We could look to Song Spinner into a Mystic Shot or something, but looks kind of far away. But I think, you know, the key thing here, I think we left ourselves with enough health to block a Orn Ram, whatever those things are called, right? The Bone Club is a 10-10, that would make Orn a 14-14, and so we should still be able to, you know, safely come in and block him. I don't think we have any problems there. So with this attack, we just need to not die, right? And then everything will be okay. So let's put our smallest unit. Is that really all it takes? Like, Seraphine's not anywhere near flipping. We can pop off with a Song Spinner, which is going to give us like 4 levels up on Seraphine, but then it feels like we're a little bit short on getting anything else going. We can also look to pop off with these Caustic Rifts and the Mischievous Mirai this turn. I think that's a reasonable place to be. But I want to get in 2 blocks. I don't want to just die to Fury of the North. So this should leave us safe. If we take 8 plus 3, that's 11. I did the mathematics. 11 is smaller than 14. That should ideally be enough. Got a cat trying to hang out. You want to be on the internet, Pepper? Oh shit, I forgot about the sharesies. We just straight up knew we had sharesies in hand. F. That's not good. That's not good. I didn't even think of the sharesies moving the Bone Club over. That was a little sloppy. So we're gonna have to hit something good off of this off of this song spinner. We need to get the dude off board. Transfusion doesn't do it. These are too slow, although heavy metal would have been pretty cool in this situation. And tag out. I don't know how tag out works. I don't think we're going to be able to tag out the we're 1 mana short? No. No. All right. Well, that one's on me. We would have been okay if we just had one more blocker. It's like we had the sharesies in hand, but didn't even consider him actually playing it. It's like we were like, okay, can I play this card to win the game with Shelly? No, that's too bad. Let's just completely forget about it from this point on. That was not ideal. Not ideal. All right, though. On to the next one. Let's get ourselves 2 more games in. These games tend to last a little bit longer. We like to keep the video right around an hour or so. See if we can't move on from there. But Kitty wants to be on the internet. You say what up? You can't deny him, right? You got a kitty. You gotta say, put me on the internet. It's why it was designed. All right, Pepper, let's get him. Let's get him. She's been doing really good about her butt not stinking these days. It's a real perk. She used to have problems with the old butt stink, and so she'd come up here and jump on me in the middle of a video, get that butt stink all over me, and then I'd just have to either decide if I want to stop making the video to go change shirts or just put up with the stink. You've been doing a good job, haven't you? We brought it up to the vet. I worry that people are going to think I'm a terrible cat owner. So I brought it up to the vet. We're like, hey, her butt stinks real bad. She doesn't seem that good at cleaning it. And they're like, well, you can bring her by frequently and we'll express her anal glands. Apparently this is a problem with cats that were outdoor cats before they were indoor cats. This was a barn cat of sorts. I forget the entire story. I don't know her entire origin story, but one of my wife's friends or coworkers or something had this cat, and I think they said it was either hanging out at their house or it was hanging out in their barn or something, and they were looking for a house for it. And my wife said, "Sure, I got room for a kitty. I'll take it." And so she takes it. She takes it to the vet. They give her a glowing review. They say this is a wonderfully healthy kitty, and they didn't notice that she was pregnant. And so for whatever reason, when she took it in, they were like waiting to get her fixed. And then like the next time they took her in to get her fixed or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, she's pregnant. And so the wife ended up acquiring, how many was in that? I think it was 6 cats in total. Because old Dum Dum here was preggo when she was released to us. That's where the black cat came from. If you see the old Void in the videos, he's one of Pepper's here's finest creations. All right, though, up against the old Karma set deck again. I could see an argument for trying to get some of this stuff on board. We could just go ahead and drop the Father Fury to push the damage a little bit early, but I think this is fine. To just go ahead and take the open attack before he gets a chance to add a random 3/3 to the board. Now we are a little stuck trying to deal with this tasty Feyfolk, but at least at the moment the Feyfolk is only hitting for, or I should say only healing for 4 damage. It's not like this is a critical unit at a critical time to be taking down. I'm still going to come in and try and remove it, but it's not like we're playing a Legion Rearguard deck and opponent has us attacked down. We've attacked opponent down to like 8. They say, hey, watch what the Faithful can do now. He's really invested in this thing. Like I thought this was going to be a little bit different since he has the Tryndamirs in it. I assumed that this was going to be the kind of ramp style deck that you occasionally see that was meant to counter the kind of main Karma set deck, but it seemed like he was thinking about playing a combat trick there. I didn't think any of these decks played combat tricks, and so that was a little odd to me. But I'm going to spew off some spells this turn. I'm going to drop the formula. It's going to give us back up to 3 mana. Then I'm going to Time Winder off the Bloodbait. Get this unit off of the board. See if we can't get some attacks in this round. And if he has a combat trick, it's not the end of the world, but ideally, this thing should be going away. Deny makes more sense.
The order rewards its faithful.
Oh,
This would be a lot cooler board to be dropping Caustic Rifts on, but I don't think we can stop. I don't think we can say, oh man, I'm here for value, I'm going to play this Caustic Rift. The opposing deck's late game is just way better than our late game, and so we really need to be dropping the Teemo and the Shelly and the Burblefish and popping off with the spells, because we're like, he's going to get in the late game and just combo off with Karma, and we can't go toe-to-toe with that kind of thing. What the fuck? Where does this stuff come from? Alright, I guess. It's so strange.
commence operations. We cover Moonstone.
Today we fight as one.
Alright, no blocks. Teemo number 2. And then we can start chaining off spells on this next turn. It's just so wild seeing all that stuff. I could not expect Hearthguards to come out of here. Let's not play the chain just yet. It's like we're missing out on some of this mana from the Burblefish, but I don't want to immediately throw it all away before we get Shelly's abilities on the board. So we do lose out on 2 mana this way, but I think it's okay. We're not gonna have enough mana to completely get around this stuff. Maybe we should have stopped once we hit the first Tellstones, because you can Tellstones into more powder, and then we could have more powdered into Caustic Rift, even though we don't have a turn ready for I should say, even though we don't have the Mirai on board. But with this, we should be able to chain off 2 more spells. I'm going to put the Test of Spirit onto the Omen Hawk. We can Mystic Shot his face, and then we can send in the remainder of the team. Probably don't want a Mystic Shot, right? We'll just Barbed Chain. Let the team grow a little more. Get the 15 coming at him. See how close it is. Sure. So we got the 6 coming at him, 7 with the dead Omen Hawk here. Still looking pretty good. We're about to flip the Seraphine. Our hand does look a little empty, but we're going to be drawing 2 cards next turn, or 2 additional cards, 3 in total next turn. Get us in a pretty decent spot, I think. Shelly number 2 and Father Fury.
Technique is for lightweights.
And Set comes in. It's like I kind of want to just pass and let him get his attack in. His attack isn't that good. Like, he can come in and hit Shelly, but then I think we can just pop off after that. We'll have
Me in the ring. Welcome to the arena.
we'll have the more powder doubled up, and we'll have the Mystic Shot doubled up. That should be 8 damage. That gets us real close.
That was great. Now let's really bring it.
Let's really bring it now. Oop. Too bad we don't have the AoEs anymore. It'd be a nice spot to drop the AoE. Alright, so there's 8 to the face place. And then we can still look to play Father Fury and Swindle. If we don't find, Parlay or something, then we should at least still be winning off this open attack. We hit the jettison. That's what everyone was hoping to hit. All right, so he does have a harsh winds. He had I stopped paying a bit of attention in there. There's place your bets and harsh winds. Revna's not particularly important. But just pick up all the place your bets. So we just need one of these elusives to connect. I think we're okay here. Rummage to draw about 1 million as well. Let's see if that turns up anything spicy before we get into the attack step. Some high notes along with Eye of Nagakaboros. I'm just going to send it. It's pretty tough to have, like, he did have a concussive palm, so he can harsh winds and concussive palm, but it's fairly tough to have another card after you've spent all that mana. Maybe it's possible. Maybe we should have been a little less greedy about this and just played spells first. But if you don't take the open, then it's just a lot of possibilities for the stuff that can drop on you. But Father Fury says, I'm enough. GG, my friends. Says, get yourselves ready for that final battle. All right. Oh shit, I messed up my screen. I messed up my video. I got too excited with the clicks. There we go. It should be fixed now. You're welcome. Hope y'all are doing okay with your marijuana hangovers over there. I know that that's a that's a thing for sure. Out there celebrating your 420 day. It's Butt Stuff 420 bringing the 420 video to you today. Going off the rails and playing Seraphine and stuff. Crazy days out there. Crazy days. But let's see what happens up against Seraphine Jack. This is the back alley bar version of the deck. We have to worry quite a bit about them dropping Mischievous Mirai AoEs on us, but outside of that AoE, they shouldn't have a ton of ways to really interact with our elusive package. So if we can hopefully dodge a little bit of that nonsense, we'll be okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and drop Seraphine. There's a reasonable chance she gets to attack this turn, and if he plays units, then we're still in the same spot where we can attack with Teemo. But I feel like this is probably the kind of space where they just Mystic Shot or they play High Note onto Teemo, and then we should still get in damage with Seraphine. Alright, Teemo number 2 ready to come down. We've drawn so many Teemos today, man. This is like it's our 6th game, but it feels like the 4th one to where we've drawn 3 Teemos. It's been wild.
Only a few days till the show. I got this.
Alright, dude's got Seraphine of his own. Counting on you, Teemo. Cards don't do anything. We need you to battle. High note. Alright. Could have gone for a hate spike here, I guess. Would have let us spend our mana, but she doesn't seem like a particularly compelling target at this point. Yeah, opponent says, oh snap, it's triple Teemo coming at me. We did just overbank a ton of mana though. Maybe that would have been more ideal, just to go ahead and play the hate spike. Well, we've got 3 Mirai, or we've got so many Mirais in hand. I thought we had 3 Mirais to go with the 3 Teemos, but I think having seen so many up to this point, I'm okay to just drop them. So he's just most assuredly got the AoE, right? if he's taking our Seraphine and our Mirai down to 1 health, I'm just gonna go ahead and take a wild guess on what's about to happen from those. did the mathematics on it. I mean, I guess there is like a small percentage chance he's just taking stuff down to low health so that Seraphine can come out and get in front of them, but
Armed and ready.
this just has to be an AoE. Mm-hmm.
I did my best.
Alright. Now we're gonna hit the spell shield one, right? Dang, we called our shot and it didn't come through. It's like we're gonna hit the spell shield one and then give those bonus stats to the mischievous Mirai. It didn't happen, but one can dream. One can dream. Dude brings a bar. Alright, let's give Mirai number 2 a shot. I mean, it's fairly tough to have enough removal to take it down at this point. The deck plays like 1 Hex Obliterator, and without that 1 Hex Obliterator, it should struggle to take this unit off of the board. Sure. The Frozen Thrall. I don't know about playing that, my dude. You have ways to discard this. You're not gonna... it's like you're never gonna hit the countdown on it, but you do play Rummage. And so... I don't know if I'm in complete agreement with putting the Frozen Thrall on the board. But what else do we got? We want to continue on with the Clocklings? It seems reasonable. Like, the other question's going to be, would we rather just chain off the Song Spinner, since it's going to put a bunch of things on the board? Maybe we still take the Clockling, but we just don't we don't play it until next turn. I could get behind that. Ooh, he goes Progress Day. Interesting. I thought he was going to take down the Mirai. I mean, I guess those cards are all going to be super cheap, right? He's got the bar on board, and they all cost 1 less, and so it makes a little bit of sense that that's going to be a thing. So we picked up no reason to take single combat. We picked up the Confront. I'm kind of leaning towards Magical Journey, but Behold the Infinite has to be the way to go, right? We'll just try and hit a big dude off of it. An Inspired Light. Okay. We didn't find any of the big invokes, but Traveler could be okay. No damage cards though. Sad day for Powder Keg.
If it's a people problem, I'm your man.
Maybe next turn, right? Maybe next turn. We can come out and play these prize fights on the Powder Keg though, right? Punch down a unit with the Powder Keg.
Son, Ron, Bon.
That's not good.
Wasn't
We're
after
probably just dead next turn. We gotta find... It's like, even if we find the AoE, I don't really feel like that's enough. We needed a Shelly or something to really pop off here, and the Mirai. It's unfortunately not done anything. Alright, let's take a peek here. None of these are the AoE spell we're looking for, and so we could look to take Heavy Metal and go after the Mirai, but I feel like that's probably just too slow. And so I'm going to pick up the Formula and see if we can't Formula into a spell that we can actually play here. Just if we're trying to set ourselves up into a spot to where we're trying to take down the Mirai, he's just going to kill our Powder Kegs, and we're not going to do anything. And so we got to have a little luck hit with this Formula, I think, given that our hand's so bad. All right, let's see what we can find. I mean, as it stands, he doesn't have very much mana, and we still have a ton of powder kegs on the board. So maybe we can make something happen. Maybe not. I don't really want to be aftershocking the mischievous Mirai. That feels kind of shitty. But I mean, if we're realistically going to win this game, how's it going to look? And we're going to just have to play Shelly next turn and then pop off as many spells as we can and hope that he doesn't have the big AoE. I think that's where we're kind of stuck. We could just go ahead and barbed chain.
Sing it with me now.
To see what we draw next turn, but like losing out on all that mana kind of sucks. All right. Squeeze them with me, fam. Squeeze those cheeks. Real good. Squeeze them and then beat them, am I right? I had to explain to the wife the other day the difference between squeezing cheeks and beating cheeks and clapping cheeks. There's a lot a lot of verbs that can be added to cheeks. I had to drop some of the serious knowledge bombs as to what these things mean. I have a little bit more understanding of the words the kids are using these days, and so we had to do some splaining. All right, we're most assuredly dead here, but opponent's doing stuff and we get to untap, so we might as well play our Shelly and see if he doesn't have the AoE. There he goes. I don't think he realized he completely filled out his board. He's just sitting here saying, why the fuck did I play Frozen Thrall? As he completely filled out the board and couldn't add any more powder kegs in. But, alright. Let's see what we can do. Cards have been drawn. The Shelly is on the board. One can dream. Alright, really loading up here. I can't imagine he can't find a burn spell off of 2 time tricks in addition to the 1,000 cards that are already in their hand, but stranger things have happened. This is our last time playing Seraphine ever, so we got to at least we at least got to throw down and see if we can't hit. All right, so let's see here. Let's get a prize fight in. Do Tellstones. We can do Tellstones. We can do Make It Rain. That's not even enough, is it? Or is that 10, 18? So I guess we can hit for 18 and then draw Mystic Shot next turn? No, he's going to play a bunch of heal off of these things. Okay, we'll call it a day there. That game was most certainly done the turn before, but with all the elusives, I felt like we should give it a little bit of a shot. So, okay, so we can pull this up, talk about it a little bit more. Again, I absolutely loathe that Seraphine is a card. That last matchup was just absolutely abysmal. as I have to play these cards and play against this deck, it just rubs me the wrong way. And I apologize for being, the lacking of the expert knowledge I like to bring to these things, but this is certainly a deck that's outside of my wheelhouse, but I felt like it was interesting enough to bring to the forefront that people might be interested in playing it. And so it's tough for me to really kind of come out and say, what's good and what's bad about this deck. I like how it played out. It felt like a lot of the games went, pretty reasonably well. I like that we aren't playing towards... I feel like in the last game we played against the back alley bar deck, I know that they aren't entirely built on the RNG mechanics of it, but it feels like to me that all that deck is trying to do is cast a big Caustic Rift. And then if they cast the big Caustic Rift, they win the game. Otherwise, they're just going to try and play 2 back alley bars and draw 3 cards and play play a progress day and draw 3 more cards and generate some stuff off Seraphine and Coral Creatures. And at a certain point, once you've generated enough bad cards, it doesn't even matter that they're bad. You're just able to come out and spend 95 mana across the game to win your other opponent only played 35. And the thing that really won you the game was the 5 damage Caustic Rift, and then the bullshit that you did after that didn't really matter. And so I ultimately just kind of like find it really frustrating to play against these Seraphine decks, because you can, like we were talking about with the single combat plays, you can really design your strategy to taking down the Mirai and limiting the damage it's able to do. And then if they're not able to pull off that big Caustic Rift, they typically, at least in my experience, don't win the game unless they really hit on the RNG package. And I know that that's kind of, reductive in how good the deck actually is. I don't think it's a good deck, but it's reductive in the terms of it has a little bit more quality to it than I'm really giving it credit for there. But I ultimately find it to be a pretty frustrating experience to play against. And so, again, that's why I thought it was kind of neat, since we're moving away from that idea of just generating all of the random cards and hoping for the best, and then moving towards this idea of using the Fleet Admiral Shelleys and the Elusives to load up a bunch of stats and attack, but also have that mischievous Mirai in the background able to do the big AoE thing. And I really liked a lot that this deck was putting forth, as opposed to the back alley bar decks. So we played it. It doesn't feel like my finest work in terms of content creation. It certainly wasn't my finest work in terms of gameplay. But if it's a deck that you're interested in, maybe you got to see it to where you didn't know it existed before, and you can go on and do battle with it from there. And so that is going to do it for us today. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.